Welcome back to the show, Respectfully Inspired with Aussie Films. Today, I'm with Thomas Saggese. He is, I think we would call you an MLB player. Do we not?
I mean, I guess. MILB, I guess. I don't know.
I don't know how that works, but we're on the childhood baseball field that we used to play baseball on. He is now a pro. I quit and I film podcasts now. I like to start off every episode with my why behind the podcast, which is that I want to inspire people to invest in soul wealth. So not the classic wealth, which is measuring success by money, possessions, and achievements, but soul wealth, which is measuring success by relationships and memories. So that's what I was explaining with you, is that I used to be a lot more money-driven and goal-driven. So I would obsess over like having a certain amount of listeners or viewers and being able to like be the rich YouTuber. And now I'm way more focused on relationships and memories. So like, to put that in perspective, if we left this podcast and it got 0 views, which it won't, but if it did get 0 views, but we became good friends because of it and it was a positive memory and experience, then that's a win. That's how I define a win for me these days. So
that's super cool.
Go ahead and introduce yourself. Or actually, I want to ask you, if this podcast were to go perfectly, is there any message that would get explained to the world?
Oh gosh.
I
kind of did not prepare.
No, you don't. I have questions and stuff. That's just so I understand your intentions, because sometimes guests, they have something really important to them and it might just come out, but I just want to ask before.
Not really anything that important. Maybe if somebody were to like take something from it to benefit them in any way, and really I don't know. My big thing is for people to be as happy as they can. So
you just want to help others and benefit others.
Help others be, yeah. And like you were saying about the memories and relationships, I'm into like we were saying earlier, be joyful. I think that's the most important thing.
1 Thessalonians 5:16, always be joyful.
Yeah.
I guess we can start off pretty deep here.
Okay.
Can you explain to me this concept of the 3 principles?
Oh my gosh.
Because I
haven't heard that in a while.
I don't know it, and I was trying to.
So their whole thing, the main concept of that is, oh my goodness, man. I was not expecting that. That's hilarious. So let me try to think.
It's okay.
The whole idea is that you are not happy based on your circumstances. You don't feel a certain way based on the things that have happened to you.
Yeah.
It's all about how you perceive it. So their whole thing is like your thinking.
Yeah.
So your happiness comes from your thinking about something rather than the thing itself.
That was the only point I was able to pick up, is that people will have something happen to them and they'll be like, I'm sad because my dog died or something. But it's like, in reality, your thoughts control your emotions. So it's like, maybe your dog was old and his suffering stopped. So you could say, oh, I'm so happy that my dog's not suffering anymore.
Exactly.
You choose to say, that's like your mind has the final say. And I understood that when I was looking into it, but what I didn't understand is like, why 3? What are the 3? Is there 2?
The 3 are mind, consciousness, and thought. So I guess mind, I think my personal, what was described to me when I was younger, is they kind of just made it like that. Like they didn't really know, like it was more of like a feeling and like a deeper thing that's kind of hard to describe. It's like, I felt this with like God's presence. It's like deeper than I can put into words. I think it's a similar type thing, but mind.
Yeah.
So mind, the idea is like God.
Yeah.
Like mind, but it was just more of a secular way to say that. Consciousness. I don't even know.
It's like Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit.
Yeah, really, honestly, seriously.
Because I was just confused, like, you know, generally when something's written like 3 principles or like 5 rules or whatever, it's like a list.
It's not really like,
it's not like that, which I was so confused. I was like, why is it called the 3 principles if I can't find 3 principles?
Yeah.
But I knew it was important in your family growing up, so I was like, maybe Thomas will have like some fire explanation.
Yeah, I know, really. Sorry. But it's definitely it was a cool thing because they talked about I was exposed at a young age that like that's kind of how that's really all you're thinking, and that kind of creates your reality in a way. So that I'm thankful for that.
That is a super important lesson to be taught growing up. Cause I mean, I feel like my mom actually was good at that too. She would. My mom takes it to the extreme. Like I'll text my mom, or she'll like text me something that's funny. You know, I'll send back like the dead emoji, you know, like the laughing emoji, and my mom will be like, "Don't use that emoji," and I'll be like, "Why?" She'll be like, "It's like you're manifesting deadness." Or something, and I like taught it to me, but it was like in really weird, extreme ways that is interesting. But now looking back on it, I'm like, dude, that was. Although I don't know if I would like have been so like meticulous about it, I do think that it's just super valuable to know that your thoughts carry weight.
Yeah, they do for sure. For sure.
So we both went to Kelly Elementary growing up, and we were in a school shooting, which I this might be the first time I've talked about it on the podcast, although I'm not trying to avoid talking about it, but my experience, I was 4th grade, up the grade above you, and we were lucky that we had a field trip to the GIA on the day of the school shooting. And so I don't think any of the cars from the field trip were back on campus, but like inside campus, but my car was one of the first cars back, and we were like pulling up during the shooting. And so it was like you could hear the gunshots, but it wasn't like, at least for me, it wasn't traumatizing because I couldn't even really comprehend what was happening. Like you used to have the parent driver, so like our car came back and there was loud noises, and they were like, "We're not going into the school, so we're gonna wait in the car." And the streets were blocked off because they blocked off the other cars from returning to the school. But we obviously weren't going to get out of the car and go into the school they were shooting. So then it just was like this weird thing where we sat in the car for like an hour, and then we went to some kid's house who lived right next to the school for like 3 hours. But it wasn't like super traumatizing for me.
Yeah.
I am aware though that I heard upon research that you had like panic attacks and anxiety as a result of the school shooting.
Yeah, I don't know how much.
Could you elaborate?
I don't know how much that was related, like looking back.
No,
because I felt a similar experience during it. I was really scared, but I didn't really know what was going on.
Yeah, he was like, "You're so young." And another thing I try to tell people when I tell them the story is that none of the other school shootings, like the big ones like Parkland, none of them had happened. So it wasn't like we're having a school shooting.
Yeah, I had no idea.
Like we thought it was, knew what it was.
I thought it was a drill. That's what I thought it was. But then like the lunch lady's like, "Run."
Okay, wait, actually, I'm so curious because everyone I've spoke to has been in my grade, so they all have the GIA experience. What can you actually just like?
Yeah, I'll talk about what happened. So I'm sitting in the cafeteria.
Yeah.
Wow, I can't believe I remember this vividly.
Yeah.
And dang. So I was sitting in the cafeteria, and yeah, the guy just comes sprinting like across the field, and Kelly's like, the cafeteria is like right here. The field is over here, big, like a giant field. And there's kind of like an opening over on that side. That's where he's coming from.
Yeah, I think he hopped the fence.
Or something. I don't even remember paying attention to that, but you just see him sprinting across the field, and he just starts shooting while he's sprinting. And I remember seeing like a bag. He was like carrying a bag. I remember actually explaining that to people. I don't actually remember that.
Wait, this is funny because I'm seeing like differences in like our story. Because mine was low-key, I was there, but it was also low-key word of mouth. what I was told is that he had a plastic jack-o'-lantern from like Target that you go to Halloween with.
Whoa.
And he was like skipping towards the school and he was like free candy, and then he pulled like a pistol out of it. That's what I heard, and I've heard that from a lot of people, so I think that part of the story is true. But the other thing I heard, which I'm curious if you heard, is that I heard he didn't actually aim at kids, and that he just like spun or went like this and just started like shooting. But I don't know. I don't know.
I remember, all I can say, I remember him just sprinting, carrying a bag, and like running across the field and just going boom, 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 boom.
Oh my God.
And then
that's crazy.
So the lunch lady's like, run, run. I was like, what is that? And people are like, oh, it's just shells. Like, it's a drill.
Oh, so they straight up they thought it was drill too?
Yeah. Like, who was there?
Oh my God.
Lucas Schmidt and Carson Scott.
I remember Carson Scott. And
they're like, I think it's just a drill.
And so what? Did you just keep chilling at the...
So I'm just chilling for a sec. They say run, and I'm like, okay, let me run to my classroom. My classroom, so the lunch area is here, then there's just rows of classrooms, right? So I just sprint. My classroom's all the way in the back. I just sprint back to my classroom.
Yeah.
And I remember seeing my teacher, Mrs. Webb.
Yeah.
So we were gonna have, it was Friday. We were just going to lunch, and she had a meeting.
Yeah.
So we were gonna have a substitute. So she was like not gonna be there. So she was in her meeting or something.
Yeah.
And we were all sprinting, and she like comes out. I remember like stopping right in front of her.
Yeah.
Or she was like right in front of me, like right here. And she's like, what's going on? And she was like kind of panicked.
Yeah.
And I remember that being fuzzy, and I'm like, dude, just run. Like, we got to go to your classroom.
Dude, that's...
And then we go to the classroom, and we're just in lockdown. And I had nobody really knew what was going on. We're in lockdown for 3 hours.
Yeah.
And you can't, I don't know, that's an age where you're pretty young, so you don't all the way understand. But I mean, as you can imagine, your mind can like still race a little bit. And
did you have a SWAT guy like knock on the door or anything?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so. It was just
interesting.
It was kind of crazy. We played a movie.
Yeah. It's so interesting, like going through all those different stories. One of my best friends, Austin Lamontagne, his mom taught at Kelly. And
Mrs. Lamontagne.
Mrs. Lamontagne.
Holy crap, I had her for first grade. That's crazy.
So I see her all the time because he's like one of my best friends.
Do you really?
Yeah, because I just go to his house.
What is he doing?
And she tells me stories about like one of the girls. So 2 girls got shot in the arm. No one died.
Yeah.
One of the girls who got shot in the arm went into her classroom.
No freaking.
So there was blood on the floor, but it was like, so her classroom became like a crime scene. What I also heard from my other friends, which I'm surprised that you didn't happen, is I heard that there was a SWAT guy who like walked around and like knocked and went into...
Dude, there might have been. I don't remember.
But I remember that it actually made people scared because they were like, there's a shooter, and then this friggin' SWAT guy with like an AK is like walking around school. My experience was different because they blocked off the ends of the street to go to Kelly, so we couldn't leave either, but we couldn't enter the school. And so then eventually Gordy Nippert lived in one of the houses, and he was like, do you guys want to go to my house? And we like went to his house and like watched a Disney movie for like 3 hours. But I remember just being so bored and like calling my mom, and she was freaking out. And
that's wild. Yeah.
I feel like one of my friends told me that someone took a dump in like remember the bucket, the like emergency bucket bathrooms that we had?
No way.
That's what I remember. I don't know why that stands out to you. We had like emergency bucket bathrooms.
That's bad.
And he said that like in their 3 hours, someone had to use it or something.
That's bad. Dude, now that I think about this, I remember being like scared, like feeling my kind of heart like pound. Mm-hmm. And like freaking out a little, because when I was little I used to get scared of that, like natural disasters. I get really scared of that stuff.
Interesting. Natural disasters.
Like anything that showed, like I remember watching something in 2nd grade, and it showed like it was talking about volcanoes. It was like, if this volcano erupts, we're all dead. And I would panic when I heard stuff like that. So then this happened. I remember freaking out. And then I remember actually later, like there would be lockdowns.
Yeah.
And those would really when we had lockdowns, it would really freak me out.
Interesting.
Yeah, so definitely there was anxiety after that. Now I'm thinking back to it.
Well, there's a couple of things. First of all, this is like a side tangent, but my brother, who was like 10 years older than me, he used to put on this show. It was like 1,000 Ways to Die or something, and literally every episode was just like a different way of dying. I don't know who made that show, because now that I'm looking back, that's such a weird show. It would just like, the first part of the show would be like some reenactment of like a weird death, and the second part would be like explaining like, is the death painful, is it,
oh my God.
I don't know why he would watch it, and then I would just watch it because he'd watch it, and it would make me scared of like the most random it's like a random memory I'm just having right now. But back to like the anxiety and panic attacks. In the video I watched, your mom was like, she said that after the school shooting that you couldn't, like, you didn't want to go to school.
Yeah, I remember that now. Yeah, I did not want to go to school at all. After the shooting that night, I was like up all night too.
That's so interesting. Bro, I don't know, like, it literally, I could be just delusional because it was like, I was like a kid. For all I know, I could have been scared, but like, the way I remember it, it like did not affect my life at all. I just remember going back to school, and we got like a week off, and there was therapy dogs all over campus. Like,
yeah, I remember that. I remember that.
We got therapy dogs, and then we got a trip to Legoland, and I don't know, like, it just, but it's interesting because your mom said that you had to learn like emotional skills at a young age because she didn't want you to have panic attacks.
Yeah, I did. I think I had a better, I like got that feeling of anxiety at a really young age, and I don't know, during that shooting, it just like it was easy to set it off.
Yeah.
Like now I still get some anxiousness sometimes, but it's like, I know it's not that big of a deal, you know? Yeah. Back then it's like, holy crap.
Wait, so what though, like, what made you like overcome it? Because in the same video, your mom's like, dude, he has the best emotional intelligence of like any kid.
I don't know. I kind of
like, was there like, did you like go to therapy as a kid, or was it?
I think I did.
Just
I did go to therapy a little bit. Oh. 3 Principles helped a lot to realize, like, the big thing with the 3 Principles, it's like, it's just your thinking, and your thinking doesn't really mean anything. Like, you don't have to listen to this negative thinking. It's like, it's just there, and you don't have to indulge and like listen to those thoughts, kind of thing. Like, it's just there, so just let it be there.
Yeah.
You just let it be there, and that helped me a lot. And then just I just kind of grew out of it in a way, and
growing up,
I think helped a lot, which isn't really like a
it's interesting,
crazy answer, but
cool.
But yeah, I was scared of school for a long time, and then it turned into, I even got that up in middle school. I'd be like freaking out. Like then it turned into assignments. Like, really? Holy crap. Like, how am I going to turn this, how am I going to do this? Like, I freak out.
So then, Thomas got drafted straight out of high school.
Yeah.
Was that like a relief because you didn't want to do any more school?
No. By high school, I didn't. By high school, I was chilling. I was like, okay, whatever. I don't.
Dude, I remember, bro, some like weird concepts when thinking about high school and school. Like, something that really intrigues me is how like scared of authority I was, which I think is a good thing. Like, I'm very happy I was a kid who like respected authority, and I wasn't like a kid. But like, I remember like being like, oh, like, if I like use the bathroom without asking the teacher permission, I'm gonna have like detention. And being like, I can never have detention. But like, being like, now looking back on it, it's like every punishment that you get in school is like a facade. Like, it doesn't affect your life, but you think it does.
That's exactly what I thought. that's what would give me anxious about like this assignment.
Yeah.
I thought about that like in middle school and elementary school. I was like very like that.
Dude, or like in high school, I mean, I guess this is not the same way for everyone, but I know that a lot of people shared the experience that I had, which is like, you're stressing your entire high school experience to get into the school of your dreams. But it's like, first of all, you don't even know you'll like the school. Most of the time, the school of your dreams is like the ones that other people hype up. And the reasons they hype them up is because their parents, they have some name stigma around them. And actually, they're the least fun schools to go to because they're the hardest educationally.
Yeah.
So you're becoming a homework slave in high school so that you can go to a school that rewards homework slaves. And it's like, when I'm making it sound bad by calling it like homework slave, but it's like, I do to a degree feel like, why was I so worried about school and just getting a science done? I mean, I guess I personally dropped out and you went straight to the MLB, so. I was like a smart kid too. I always got good grades. My parents are pissed when I dropped out, but like, hopefully we'll make it work, bro.
Oh gosh, that's funny.
It's funny because like a lot of times on the show I talk about like the value of college degrees. So it's like I think in one sense everyone has to in one sense accept that they become less valuable because basic economics, the more you have of something, the less it's worth. We have more degrees than have ever existed because more people are shuffled into college than ever before. Like back in the day, it was like only a certain level of wealth could go to college. Uh-huh. Now it's like everyone goes to college and you just get grants and sponsorships based on your income. And so it's like everyone has, and that's great. I'm all for that, like unified education. But then what it means is that everyone's getting a college degree. And if everyone's getting a college degree, then inherently they're worth less. That's not to go on the tangent of the fact that everyone has an iPhone and they're cheating their way through college. And then when COVID and half the classes came online, now everyone's cheating online. And now with AI, the math can be cheated. Now English can be cheated. Yeah. And it's like, if you're an employer and you're just hiring someone because of their GPA, like, I think that's going to quickly become a really stupid thing to do because you don't even know if they cheated their entire way through school. And so, sorry, that's like a whole tangent, but it's funny because I really, really think the number one value of college, like I believe deeply in my heart when I say this, is the social value. Yeah, I agree. Because technology has kind of diversified education. Like, if you truly want to learn something, you can pretty much go online and learn it. And but what it's done is it's made people lonelier than ever because they think they have real relationships online and they're more scared. Everyone's self-conscious because they're like comparing themselves online. So like our generation is the most lonely and the most depressed. And so it's like, I am really in support of college for the social life of it. And I always tell people, if I were to like talk to a junior in high school right now and I were just like give them advice, I would literally be like, bro, I would say, what's your dream school? And they would tell me, UCLA, but I'm never going to get in. And I'd say, all right, this is what you do. You save hundreds of thousands of dollars by not going there. You find the nearest student apartment that's not through the university, and you just get a job and live in that apartment. And then just hang out on campus, meet all the other geniuses, have free time, don't spend tens of thousands of dollars. And then if you decide that you absolutely want to do something that requires a degree like becoming a doctor, then you can go to school later. That's an interesting thing to do. I like that a lot. That makes a lot of sense to me. You get into your dream school. You can't not get in. You just move there. And then you get the social life. I don't know. No, that's yeah, I like that a lot. You can tell I've thought about these things. That makes so much sense. How do you like playing baseball professionally? Is it what you thought you'd end up doing? Yeah, for some reason. Yeah, for some reason in high school, I got to high school, I just mellowed out. And I was like I'm going to still work and do homework and, get good grades. But I had a bunch of detentions from, being tardy and stuff.
And I was just like, whatever. And then for whatever reason in high school, I was very like at peace with whatever happened. And it didn't, like, looking back, I was like, wow, I wasn't like a super high prospect and stuff, and wasn't committed that early to go to college for baseball. And then got drafted in a COVID draft. It was weird, but it's been amazing. I've loved it.
What is,
like, I love baseball. I love really just work, like the work.
Yeah.
And like, whether it's weightlifting and just practicing.
Yeah.
And you play every day, and it's just, I don't know, I love it.
You love it.
Like, that's a job. That's my job, is I get to go to the field every day and play a game, you know?
Yeah. You had an interesting quote. You said, it really stood out to me, actually. Some dude was interviewing you, I don't know who it was, and you said, every day I get to show up and play, everything else is a bonus.
Did I really say that?
Yeah, what is, I've talked a lot about everything is a bonus mentality, but I'm curious, what do you mean by that when you say that?
I don't know. I don't know. I feel like it's just such a good life already, you know? It's such a, probably along the lines of like playing well is a bonus, like, you know? Like, I get to show up every day and play and do what I love most in the world, play baseball. And then I play well. It's just like a cherry on top, you know?
What about, like, I guess the way I interpreted it when you said it is like I'm sure you have ambitions to be in the MLB and win a World Series, but do you, like, it's not something where you're like looking at it in your current position and be like, oh, I'm not going to be happy until I make the league? No,
not at all. Yeah. I'm really a big believer that that's all fake, that all your wants and your desires and the fact that happiness can come from something like actual happiness, like real unconditional happiness, real joy can come from something like that is not, I don't think it's any different. I think if I were to win a World Series this last year, I'd feel this, at this point, I'd feel the same.
Interesting.
You know?
Well, I know you were like kind of, it was almost like, from my understanding, you were best friends with Evan Carter.
Yeah.
And then he got pulled off.
He won the
World Series. But you guys were essentially in the same position.
Yeah.
Like almost exactly the same position.
Yeah, we've gone through we played together every year, lived together twice, 3 times.
Was it weird, like, when he got pulled up and all that, and then they just like randomly won the World Series? Because I don't think they were expecting.
Kind of crazy. It was crazy. I was really excited for him. I thought that was super sick.
Yeah.
But yeah, kind of just like, wow, that's insane. And he did well too, so that was really cool. But like, he's a good example.
Yeah.
Not that he's not, I'm sure, ecstatic about winning the World Series, but at this point, it's like, okay.
Yeah, I mean,
what's next, you know? That's how it always is, I feel like.
Yeah, I mean, you see it in every career. You see it in YouTube. People hit 1 million subscribers, and then they're like, how do I get to 10 million? And they're like, and that's kind of a lot of where Soul Wealth came out of, is that I realized that I was chasing numbers and stuff. And I was like, I'm so obsessed with where I could be in like some future that I'm not even like enjoying this, which is like, it's so funny because people will do something. I think it happens a lot in the YouTube world, and that's how I can best explain it because it's the world I'm from. But it's like, people will be like, okay, I don't like what I'm doing now, but if I work hard enough, then I'm going to have 1 million subscribers, I'm going to make money, and I'll like it then. But it's such an illogical frame of view, because essentially they're saying that I don't like what I'm doing, but when I'm more successful, I'll like it. But success always comes with stress. Like, it's like, if this was a big podcast, I'd probably have like a couple employees. I'd probably have to upload. I'd have sponsorships I'd have to keep up with. And it's like, so I think that if I don't like it now, that when I add in all the stressors, that I'm going to like it more. And I think that's why, like, on the other, like, furthermore, there's like rich people too. It's like, why are there all these rich people who are so depressed? And it's like, I think that humans are hope-based creatures. So like we get so much happiness from the idea of something where it's like, all right, I might like kind of have like a mid-level passion for podcasting, but the idea of like interviewing my heroes and like having 1 million subscribers and making money from it, well, that makes me really enjoy it because it's like looking forward to something. But then it's like rich people this isn't the case for all, but it's like rich people who got everything they looked forward to and it didn't fulfill them, then they don't have like the joy of looking forward to something else. So it's like they say depression is synonymous with hopelessness. It's like so much of happiness comes from hope, and then if you have everything you wanted and it doesn't make you happy, then it's just like
yeah. I think that's so true. I've experienced that. I think you can put that to the very, very like basic levels of wanting stuff. Like I want to have a good game.
Yeah.
And then I think that's going to make me happy. But then I have a good game and then I'm not happier. I'm just like, okay, let's do it again.
Yeah.
It's like I feel like it's like a hamster running.
Yeah.
You know that wheel? It's like you're not going anywhere. You're just running. We're chasing the wrong thing in a sense.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's definitely, this is a huge reason, like, I'm a follower of Christ, which I will elaborate on later in the episode. But I do want to ask you, when you play games, you wrap your wrist and you write more on it. And you have more in your Instagram bio as well. Could you elaborate on what that means?
Well, that's for my mom. So my mom passed away in 2019, and she'd always say, "I love you more."
Yeah.
So I write that on my wrist. I have it on my gloves and stuff.
Yeah.
I put it in my bio. It's just kind of a reminder that, like, why I'm playing baseball in a sense, like what I'm doing and what my goals are within the game. And it kind of takes me back to like the other conversation, rather than striving to succeed and rather than these outside goals of performance and like performing well, more so like play the game for her in a way, like how she would want me to, in a way. And like I think that comes with playing the right way, like giving everything I have, and most importantly, enjoying myself, like having fun. I'm here to have fun and enjoy the game that I love, rather than, you know, try to play really well. And that just takes me back to her, and also reminds me kind of everything I do is for her, you know. Everything on the field is, I like to say, for her and the Lord, you know, to kind of honor, to show other people what my mom instilled in me and what the Lord instills in me, in a way, you know.
And what would you say your mom instilled in you? Is there like off the field characteristics that?
Oh, for sure. There's definitely, I mean, everything. The person I am is probably 90% based on what she's taught me. But within baseball, definitely playing hard and like loving the game and not getting too upset and frustrated, but rather being like a light around everybody I'm playing with. And you could say the same for life, is she was definitely really good at always putting others before her. Like always, like really just wanted to help everybody else. And that's something that I try to try to do as well. I think that was a big part of her character.
Yeah.
That I kind of learned just from watching her.
I think there was a story that your brother shared, which was like, your brother and your mom went to a bookstore once, and it wasn't like a Barnes and Noble, it was like a no-name bookstore. And your mom had, so weird, I'm just like talking about your mom. She had started a conversation with the bookstore owner, and she didn't really want to read any of the books, but she bought one and then like convinced people to come to the store just because she wanted the person.
Yeah. I remember I heard that story. Yeah.
That's interesting.
That's definitely how she was wired. Very.
Yeah.
If she met, like, very just wanting to help everybody.
That's awesome.
And I like to think I have some of that. I mean, I try to for sure, and she definitely.
Yeah. I mean, you won some award, Texan Ranger Award, that said you were an amazing player on and off the field.
Yeah. Yeah, that was cool. That was really cool. So maybe
I can't remember. There's like a name for it, but I'm like boofing it. There's a statistic that doesn't have to do with you at all. So it's not like your batting. It's not like your shooting percentage, or it's a statistic that basically tracks how well other people play when you're
Whoa.
like when you're in the field, or when you're in the huddle, or when you're in the game. And some people have I need to figure out the name of that statistic, but that's something that's like that would be a really cool thing to track. Like,
yeah, it would.
People play when I'm it's like
definitely a thing.
Yeah.
Probably more so in other sports like basketball or football, but definitely still a thing in baseball, I'm sure.
Well, I heard in baseball that they might get rid of the playoff buys because like teams will get hot in baseball, so then they'll get like a top seed, and because they have a top seed, they'll get a bye, and then because they have a bye, they'll get cold, and then they'll play worse.
Yeah.
Which is like the only sport that's like that.
So interesting. Yeah, baseball's so like everything can just click. Chemistry is big. Yeah.
Baseball's so weird in the fact that it's like, as far as the sports that I watch, it's the only sport where someone can be, where no team, like, yes, teams seem to dominate. Like, I think about like Dodgers and what, but it's not like how in other sports when a dominant team plays a horrible team, it's like so expectant that the dominant team's gonna win.
Yeah.
So like baseball can just be like anyone. Great teams will be like horrible the next year, and horrible teams will be great the next year, which is very rare in other sports.
Yeah, you're right. It's just it's just so hard to be consistent.
Yeah.
Consistency is so lacking from just like, that's just how the game is built. You know, it's just your best hitters can have bad games and then you lose, you know? It could be anybody's day at any time.
Going back to like the Evan Carter thing with him winning the World Series, being one of your friends, and then you got traded from the Texans to the Cardinals. How do you like maintain friends? I mean, in one sense, it's like you have like automatic friends because it's like you're playing baseball. It's like way easier to be friends with your coworkers as a baseball player than if you're just like some office worker. You know?
Yeah, it is for sure.
But like, is it like weird when your whole life goes from Texas to St. Louis? Are you like?
Yes, very much so.
Like, I always wanted. It's even weirder too in like the AA, or like if you're not like a huge name, because like if Ohtani or something, I mean, bro, he moved from LA to LA, and everyone's like, dude, Ohtani's in LA.
Yeah.
Like, it's wild, but it's like someone who's like more early in their career, like you, moving your whole life. Like, how does your whole life change?
Crazy. I mean, at the time, it's not that bad just because it's just me. So I just had to, like, in terms of the logistics of moving all my stuff, it wasn't terrible, but moving like clubhouses and like all the team and the players.
Yeah.
Because those are my boys, you know?
He's kind of sad.
Those are my boys, and I get a call, and they're like, "You're traded."
And then you just move your whole life.
It's just the next day. It's not like, get some time.
Oh my gosh, that's so
the next day, hey, you can't be in the dugout with us anymore. Get out. You're getting traded kind of thing.
Dude, that is so weird.
It's crazy because that's... Like, work is...
Yeah.
I show up at the field at 1, and I'm there till 11 every night.
1 to 11?
Yeah, pretty... maybe 2. Mostly 1.
Why? How?
Well, you show up, you eat, hang out, then maybe you hit, then you field.
Okay, so it's not like 11 hours straight of practice.
No, you're kind of chilling mostly. Yeah. It's pretty chill. It's just you're there for a long time. But you're there for a long time with all these people.
Yeah.
That are your boys.
Yeah.
So I'm there for... So a good example is Evan.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I saw Evan every day for 6 months straight.
Yeah.
3 separate times. I spent pretty much probably almost every waking hour with him in those 6 months.
Wow.
Yeah?
Yeah.
And that's a similar case for almost everybody on the team.
Yeah.
Evan being my roommate, so I spent more time with him, or somebody else being my roommate.
When someone is your roommate, I was curious about this too. Do you guys have like baseball dorms or?
No, it's just an apartment.
So you find an apartment and you pick it.
They put you up, like they find.
Okay, because I was gonna say like if you get traded, what you just like are you covering your lease? I'm confused.
No. So you get traded, and then somebody has to. So if I move teams, my spot is open, so somebody's gonna come and take my spot.
Okay.
If that makes sense on the roster.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I got.
And they'll go into your.
Yes, exactly. So when I got traded.
Yeah.
There was a spot that was open for me. Like they made whether they sent a guy up or down.
Yeah.
Or cut somebody. I don't know actually what happened. But yeah, getting traded is crazy.
And then is it weird just being in like a whole new city?
Yeah, I mean, that part's not as bad because we go from city to city anyway. Because I was in Frisco.
Yeah.
But then we'd play teams in different places all the time.
So in the Dublin, you're still playing people all over the country? Or
not really. Mostly Texas. It's a Texas league, so mostly Texas.
Oh, and if you're in the Cardinals, then who are you playing? People
in Texas as well, actually, because they're in the same league. But they were in Springfield, Missouri. So it's just around. It's called the Texas League, but it's just around
Texas.
Most of the teams are in Texas.
Some
teams are in like.
Are there like?
For AA, there's the Texas League.
With like 5 different leagues or something.
No, like 2 or 3.
Oh, it's only 2 or 3. Okay.
I'm trying to think where else for AA there is.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Because there's like 10 teams in the league, so there's got to be 2 more, maybe 1 more.
Interesting.
But then in AAA there's 2 leagues. AAA you travel a lot more.
Why?
I don't know.
AA is better than AAA.
AAA is better than AA.
Oh, AAA is better than.
Yes.
So AAA is closer to.
AAA is closer.
It's AAA and then it's professional.
Yes.
So.
Yes.
You play AAA, right? Or no?
I think it was yeah, only a couple weeks though.
Dang.
So I was in AA for most of the year. Went to AAA for like 2 weeks. Yeah.
Is it still the same? Like if you're on the St. Louis Cardinals, they have a AA and a AAA team.
Yeah, every team has rookie ball, low A, high A, AA, AAA.
Bro, they have that many.
So 30 teams.
Such a weird sport.
30 teams have that many levels.
Dude.
So that's why it's so hard. That's why it's the hardest thing. Like out of the.
Yeah.
That's why it's the hardest thing out of the draft.
Yeah.
Like an NBA. But in NBA, there's like 2 rounds.
Yeah. It's just Summer League and then NBA, right?
Yeah, I think there's the G League.
Yeah.
But it's 2 rounds.
Yeah.
So, like, those guys, you get however many, I guess they get a pick around. Yeah. I don't know. But that's a lot less picks.
Yeah.
The MLB used to be 40 rounds. So they get 40 rounds because they have all these levels. And now it's only 20 because of COVID, but...
Dude, that's freaking wild. Okay, so
and football, NFL is like 5 rounds, 6 rounds.
Getting drafted fifth round though, that's big.
Yeah, so that's relatively high, I guess. Yeah.
And if
and in the COVID draft, there was only 5 rounds. So that's why it's kind of crazy that the stars.
So Evan got called up all the way from AA to pros.
He spent like a week in AAA. A lot of people get called up from AA though.
Okay.
Just because the competition in AA is really good.
Yeah.
AAA in the past has been known for guys who go to the MLB and then come back down. You know what I mean?
Oh, so it's like, so AA might be better. You just wouldn't know because AAA is like where all the pros are kind of cycling back and forth.
AA is more raw, like talent.
Oh, really? Well, you could. I mean, I'm sure a lot of people are scouting you if you were kind of on that team with Evan. I remember you were one of the best, at least according to online sources. Yeah.
Oh gosh, yeah. So like a lot of people got called up from AA all the time, actually.
Well, an interesting concept, or this is kind of a deep personal question, but it's like, it seems like your mom died in your draft day were like within the same year. Is that correct? Or
it was a year before.
Okay.
The year before.
I was curious if that was like a bittersweet kind of thing. Or by that time you were kind of.
Not really, just because I was more like a proud thing, like more like I know she would be excited for me.
Yeah.
So it's more of a sweet thing, I guess.
Were you like depressed after the death?
Not as much as I thought I would be, to be honest. Because she had cancer for so long.
That it like.
So it's kind of just. My dad always says, like, we've been grieving for 10... She's had cancer for 10 years, so we've been grieving this whole time. Wow. So then when it happened, it was obviously very, very sad. And but originally when it happened, it was like a little bit of a relief in a way, you know? Because she was kind of suffering at the end.
Yeah.
But it was still... It was very sad. And later it gets, like... It's just kind of weird. It's just different. Yeah, it's just a weird...
I definitely don't understand it on that level, but my mom had really bad Lyme disease from the year I was born, so she spent a lot of her life like sick and in bed. I definitely like had an interesting experience with my mom being sick, but never... I mean, Lyme is really weird. It's like... some people die from it, some people don't. If you catch it in like the first year, you can pretty much get rid of it. When my mom got it, it was not common at all, so it still affects her to this day, but I don't think she'll die from it by any means. But it is like an interesting, like, I can relate to like just having your mom's sick. It was definitely a part of my growing up as well.
Yeah. Yes, not a fun thing for sure.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely teaches you a lot.
It does do that. If it does anything, it does that. For sure.
Was your mom a Catholic too, or no?
She wasn't. My mom was, nothing really. My dad kind of grew up Catholic. My mom was Jewish, but...
Yeah.
Didn't really...
kind of just like Jewish because of her family.
Yeah, didn't...
Interesting.
Yeah.
I thought that was an interesting dynamic because I saw that... I mean, I met you at church. That was like where I rekindled with you. And I saw you had like a couple Jesus things on your Instagram. You wear the cross, but... like... I noticed that your mom didn't have any of the... like... She was more in the mindfulness kind of...
Yeah, she was. She wasn't... Oh, God.
How would you juxtapose those worlds? Like, do you think about that ever?
I do, all the time. I'm into kind of similar I think they're saying similar things.
Yeah.
You know? I think what the Bible says.
Yeah.
And a lot of what all these other Zen stuff is and all that stuff. I think it's trying to send a similar message, you know? And yeah, I'm still kind of debating figuring out what
I mean, I totally get where you're going with this, because it's something I've thought about a lot. Like, I'm super Christian. My whole family is Christian. My dad grew up Catholic. That was the only variation. That even he's kind of like Protestant views now, like I am, and like you probably are. And I like read the Bible every morning. I'm like really about it. But it is interesting because of like my creator friends, I go to a lot of like creator events, and I've been in a lot of places where they're doing like group meditations, and it's like super mindfulness. It's funny because I'll use like the word manifest, and my Christian friends will like think it's like demonic, bro. They'll be like, why are you saying manifest? Is it like a crystal thing or something? And I'll be like, dude, manifest just means that your thoughts come into reality.
Yeah.
Which Jesus himself, like, I say he's the ultimate manifester. In Mark 11:23, he says, truly I tell you, you can say this mountain, may you be lifted up and thrown into the sea, and it will happen, but only if you believe it will happen. Now, no doubt in your heart. Therefore, I tell you, you can pray for anything, and if you believe that you have received it, then it will be yours. Which is interesting because I do think Jesus is kind of like the OG manifester, but and I do think that a lot of like concepts are pretty much the same thing. Like when we talk about the Holy Spirit, and people will talk about like consciousness within, and
for sure.
But in a sense though, if you read the Bible enough, it's like, to a degree, you can't believe both, because Jesus says, like, I'm the way, the truth, and life. There's no other way to meet the Father.
That's what I was thinking.
And it's like, I don't want to be like running around telling people they're the same thing if they're not. But I also know that it's a difficult thing, bro. Like, it does. Jesus is the most polarizing. Christianity in general is the most polarizing, because every other religion and even every other thought process around God essentially revolves in the same way, which is that you do something, and based on what you do, God will judge your actions, and based on if you've lived a good enough life, he will decide if you go to heaven or hell. That's how the Muslim religion works. That's how the Buddhist religion works. That's how the Hindu religion works. The difference is the way they define heaven is a little different. But even if you talk to like someone who believes in God, but they don't believe in religion, generally they'll be like, I'm going to heaven, I'm a good person. That's what they say.
Yeah.
But the Bible is the only religion that says, no one's a good person. No one truly deserves to go to heaven. It says the punishment for sin is death, and if you don't want that punishment, then you have to accept. It's like when people talk about the Old Testament and like the Ten Commandments, and I think there's like 613 rules in the Old Testament or something crazy. The point is not that you would hear 613 rules and go, all right, let me go follow every single one. The point is that you'd go, there's no possible way I could live up to the standard. And the rules aren't rules. They're describing God. They're saying, this is how perfect God is. And if you want to go to a perfect place like heaven, you have to be perfect like him. And the rest is for like death. The punishment for sin is death. But therefore, the punishment for perfection is life. And so it's saying Jesus lived a perfect life. And funny enough, one of the sins is being born of human flesh, but Jesus is born of God, so he doesn't fall into that. And it's like he lived the perfect life so that, I know that I'm just like rambling now, but hopefully you find this interesting.
No, this is good.
But it's like he lived the perfect life so that his perfection results in life, but he took on death so that our sinful nature that results in death can take on life. It's a swap. The way I explain is like, if you were to get like arrested for drunk driving or something, and you go to court, and the judge is like your dad, and he's like, hey, you got arrested for drunk driving, you need the punishment for this is jail time. And you go, Dad, but you know me, I never drink, that was a mistake, I'm never gonna drink ever again in my life, I'm never gonna tell a lie. And your dad, who's the judge, goes, I believe you, I believe that you'll never tell a lie, but this is how the judicial system works. You drank, and now you must do the punishment you drove. He says, you can either go to jail, or you can pay the bail. And like, accepting Jesus is like, that's paying the bail. He's paying the bail on your behalf. And that's something, it's so interesting, bro. Like, just thinking about like, I really struggled with like, my parents were Christian, but I was not like just gonna be a Christian because it was daddy's religion. Cause it's like, I don't want to, cause it is like polarizing, bro. It makes you different from the rest of the world. And, I'm like just ranting on here, but, so I like it. And I know it was funny, in one of your interviews, someone asked you what's a fact about Thomas Saggese that no one knows, and you said, I like history. So
hopefully, I was so long ago, that's hilarious.
Hopefully that's
no, I do, yeah.
But it's like, dude, the more and more you look into the Bible, the crazier it is how like true it can be proven.
So weird. I've
like, have you gone down those rabbit holes?
Yeah, I kind of never thought I would believe. I never thought like I would believe anything.
Yeah.
And that in Jesus at all, really. And yeah, just reading the Bible and opening my ears to people talking about it. And it didn't really take that long either. I felt like, wow, this is real, you know? And I feel like people try to think about how it...
Yeah.
That's what I used to do.
Yeah.
I used to think about, like, logical evidence and stuff, and be like, that doesn't make sense, that doesn't make sense. But then it was, beyond that, it was more of, like, an experience of... I experienced Jesus in certain moments, and I'll pray, and then things just... My prayers would get answered so subtly and smoothly that I could just... Almost like you could just be like... that just happened the way it happened, just because that's how things work. But it just happened too perfectly and smoothly. I don't know. There's definitely just something beyond the knowledge and the belief of, like, I believe in Jesus.
Yeah.
There's something more like, wow, I experienced God, you know?
For sure.
So that, for me, I've had a couple moments like that where that really brought me closer to the Lord and, like, more focused on...
Do you want to elaborate on any of those moments?
Yeah, I mean, one moment is definitely both in baseball.
Yeah.
I was walking up to the plate. I felt like really lost.
Yeah.
Like, with just kind of how my swing worked. I just felt like I had no chance. Yeah. And I felt a really heavy feeling beyond being lost in my performance, but for some reason I felt a greater anxiety than what I normally would feel, I think. And I just prayed. I was like walking up to the plate, about to go hit.
Yeah. And
I prayed. I was like, Jesus, I don't need to get a hit right here. I don't need to, like, succeed.
Yeah.
But if you could just bring me some peace, let me relax just a little bit, because this is not fun. And I felt my heart was so heavy and hurting. And as I'm walking up to the plate, I just get, like, a wave of calmness. And I was like, wow, that was it. And I felt in that moment, I was just like, there's Jesus right there. There's the Lord coming to me. And then from then on, I was just like, that's the truth.
It's something, I've definitely been on both sides. I'm very logical, left brain, like proving it, but I also know in the Bible, Jesus, when he teaches, he only teaches in parables. And someone asked him in the Bible, they go, Jesus, why do you teach in parables? And he says something along the lines of, I teach in parables so that those who are meant to understand will understand, those who aren't meant to understand won't understand. And I've come to realize that the Bible is like so perfect that if you hear the word faith over and over again, faith, it says, if you have faith and you want to believe it, you will find more than enough evidence. You can find, dude, the more and more you look in, the crazier and crazier evidence you can find. But if you don't want to believe it, it will never satisfy you. Like, you'll always have some sort of rebuttal. You could be like, oh, well, you know, like they found copies of the Bibles in the Red Sea and they matched the Bibles that we have today and blah, blah, blah. And you go down and someone will still have an excuse for it. And I really think that God was super intentional with that. I think that if you could prove it 100%, then it wouldn't be faith. And he wants there to be overwhelming evidence for those who want to know him, and he wants there to be. That's like that's
so interesting.
Been my experience, like where it's like two people can look at the same thing, and one person can be like, "How did I miss it? It's so obvious," and the other person will be like, "This clearly proves Jesus didn't exist." And like, it's a matter of your hearts. And my favorite parable is the one where Jesus said, the kingdom of heaven is like a farmer. He goes out and throws his seed. The first seed gets swept away before it even hits the ground. The second seed lands on rock, it sprouts up, and then it can't make roots, so it falls away. The third seed lands on good soil, but it grows with thorns. It says, but the fourth seed lands and produces a harvest 60 or 100 times as much. And what he says, it's one of the only parables that he himself explains. Most of the parables in the Bible we're supposed to interpret. And he himself explains it. He says, the seed is the word of God and the soil's the different hearts of the world. It says the first person who gets swept away before it even lands, they're the person who doesn't even care about religion. They don't care to attend a church service. They don't care. They don't even care. The second person is the person who believes in God and they like religion, and then anything bad happens to them and they go, how could God do this to me? I'm done. And so they have no roots in it. The third person believes in God. They have faith, but they also just love the things of the world. They love money. They love achievement. They grow up with the thorns. The fourth person's the person who believes in God, is not going to give it up when something bad happens, and is willing to sacrifice sin. And that's interesting. But when I think about like that what you just said with like walking up to the plate and having peace, something that I think about a lot, and I don't know if other Christians do or don't, but he's like, and I'm not like a huge sports guy, but every time I watch any sport, and I know I'm super biased because I live in America and America's a Christian country, there's many, many people at the highest level of every sport who follow Jesus.
Yeah, there are.
Even your friend Evan, when he won the World Series, he had the Jesus won the shirt.
Yeah.
CJ Stroud, that rookie quarterback, is the best quarterback ever. All he does is talk about Jesus. John Jones, the best UFC fighter at the heaviest weight, loves Jesus. And it's like, I think about like why is that? And it is really hard because I'm sure there's a lot of Christians who are on the losing teams too. Like, I'm not like, I don't want to be blind, but when I think about like why do Christians just dominate sports? And the conclusion that I've been able to come to is that like what we were talking about, chasing achievements and stuff, is like, I don't think anyone goes on the field and they're like, I don't want to win. Everyone wants to win. But I think that like when you know Jesus, you have this peace. It says that you'll have peace beyond understanding, where it's like my identity, my worth is not in if I win this game. It's not in if I have the best baseball career or if I win the World Series. That's not where I get my identity. I get my identity as a son of God. And once you have that mentality, you can just play the game with joy and with peace. Anyways, what I was saying, my friend just did his first professional fight, and he asked the previous fighters, like, what's the best advice? And they said, generally the person who's most calm wins the fight, and generally the person who's most at peace. And if you apply that knowledge to any sport, the person who's most calm at bat, the person who's most calm in the pocket throwing.
Yeah.
And I do think that is a luxury of knowing Jesus.
Yeah, I agree for sure. It gives you a greater purpose rather than... It's very common in baseball. I've seen it with a lot of people.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of people have the background, and then once they get into the season and they play, it's like they grow much deeper in their faith just because there's so many uncontrollables.
Yeah.
Like, it's so hard to play well at this high of a level, and then you can play well, and then it's still like, if you do everything right, you could still not achieve what you're wanting to achieve. So to have Jesus in your corner and have the Lord really it gives you a greater sense of peace and where you could actually just relax rather than be so uptight. That's what I think. That's my thoughts.
Wait, you said that you had chapel as a part of baseball?
Well, we had chapel every Sunday in the clubhouse.
Wait, what does that mean? I'm confused. Like,
so they had
you were on the Texas teams, but
this is
nothing.
It's pretty much everywhere.
Okay.
With St. Louis, they had it too.
Okay, so what is...
Every Sunday, they'll have like a pastor come and...
Into the clubhouse?
Yeah, in the clubhouse, and sometimes it would be in the middle of the clubhouse.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's like, hey, we're going to meet here. Whether it's 4 people are there, or
So no one on the team's required to go?
No. A lot of people go, though. And so when I was in Low A, my first year...
Yeah.
It was in the clubhouse, and I went all the time because I was just like, this is just cool.
Yeah.
And...
Is it more Catholic or more Protestant?
Protestant, for sure.
Let's go.
So...
I'm just kidding. I guess I'm not kidding.
So, I would go. I kind of got more into it. Then the next year in high A, I got even more into it. And it was the same thing. And I found myself getting more into it during the season just because of what I said. You're struggling.
Yeah.
Like, it's so hard to base your happiness based on how you do. And to have the Lord and know that you can be happy no matter what. And I've done a lot of mindful stuff, and we talked about earlier, 3 principles and stuff like that kind of proved that, or showed me that. And then having Jesus kind of proved that in a way and made it more real.
Yeah.
So then I grew more during the season, and then more during the season. And they just have chapels. They have a pastor come. Usually there's somebody who's really strong, really devout, and sometimes they'll lead it.
Oh, like in the baseball team?
Like a little devotional,
Oh, interesting. I mean, Evan looks like he was a stronger... I don't know, just based on online.
He was. And
I know he got married. Getting married at 21 or whatever is generally a sign of...
Yeah, for sure.
Although I don't know.
Christian, small town, too. That's definitely a thing.
Yeah.
And then... Yeah, they had it during... So that helped my faith a bunch.
I wonder... I'm interested in... if that was kind of like a tradition that's... Because America used to be super Christian. I wonder if that's a tradition that's always been there. Or if it's well, this would be really crazy if this was the reason. If it was they found that the players were statistically performing better when they had the chap.
Yeah,
I don't know, but it's interesting to think about.
Yeah, it was definitely very common. A lot of people went too.
Yeah.
And it was cool. That was kind of the foundation of it.
They did that on the high school level. The coach would get fired.
I know. That's crazy.
And I see that
That's
too.
Crazy.
Like with I saw the video of the Baltimore Ravens praying in the locker room.
So
They're
cool.
dominating, and I'm sure C.J. Stroud and his guys praying. But anything below the professional level, it seems like you get in trouble for believing in Jesus, which is unfortunate.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of a weird thing.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird that they.
Yeah, it is weird.
I don't know. It's not. I feel like it's not very. Because for me, when I wasn't a believer, I loved when people prayed. Like if somebody said that they prayed for me, I was like, "That's really sweet of you," you know?
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah.
It's interesting that people are so against it.
Well, I mean, I get so we were here right here, but it's like when I do look at like why are some people so against it. I mean, the Bible says your enemies are not humans, they're spirits. And then people throw around like the word devil and demon, and I don't know, to be honest, how it works, but sometimes it does seem like that when it feels like there's such an attack on Jesus. Like I saw on Twitter that Lil Nas X just announced his new song, and it's literally like called J Christ, and it's like him on the cross. I'm sure it's about to be some horrific.
Oh gosh.
But I don't know. I'm like, dude, why would you ever want to make that? I don't understand. But
yeah. Well.
Is there anything else?
Oh gosh. Who's that from? Yeah, I don't know. That's like.
What about like? Do you feel like it's possible to like find a girlfriend and have a family when you're like moving? Around?
I mean, Evan had his wife and him and his dog lived with me in Double A.
Established?
What do you mean? Oh, like they have a wife.
Before coming. I mean, because
very hard.
If they're getting married, I'm assuming they were together before.
Oh, way before. Yeah, they've been together forever.
But it's like someone being on the road.
Yeah, I have my girlfriend from high school.
Oh, you have a girlfriend from high school?
Yeah, I do.
I swear I saw a video in that TikTok.
That was recent. We got so she's from high school. We dated in high school. We broke up for a little bit, and then we got back together.
Oh, okay.
You see what I'm saying?
That little kid caught you in the nose, though.
Yeah, yeah.
He's like, "Do you have a girlfriend?" You're like, "No." He's like, "I have a girlfriend."
Yeah, that's right.
That's funny.
It's a weird. I mean, I wasn't actively searching.
Yeah.
But it would be very hard to find somebody during.
You're figure all over the U.S.
It's just you're always moving. You're all
Yeah.
That's got to be a pretty sturdy girl, you know.
That's
like
funny.
Pretty. I don't know. She's got to be trustworthy. You got to be trustworthy. That's why it's so it's really common for players to have girlfriends before pro ball and that's who they marry.
No, I know like a lot of, that happens in every sport. I know like LeBron James has been with his wife since they were like kids. I'm pretty sure Messi was with his wife when they were kids. Like, it's an interesting dynamic.
That's definitely a thing because it just gets weird. It gets.
Yeah. Because it's like another thing you don't have to focus on.
Yeah.
All right, I'll ask you my outro question, which I ask every guest. When you die, what do you want people to say about you?
Oh my gosh. When I die, I want people to say that I don't know. What I've been thinking about recently is that I want to treat everybody with love and like have love and joy radiating from me, you know?
Yeah.
So I'd say that I want people to see me and see a light, like joyfulness and a light, and kind of somebody who tried to help others and help them and spread love to those around me. Sick.
All right. That's great.
Thank you so much. That was awesome.
Good podcast.
Good podcast.
Wait, can you do one more thing for me?
Yeah, of course.
Hold up. I want to have you sit in this. Move that chair out of the shot. I need your thumbnail face. Sit in this chair.
No.
And make some different poses. It's
You what?
just smile and make some poses.
Just smile. What?
Just smile, do whatever. You've seen a YouTube thumbnail before?
I guess. I don't know what they.
Go like. Hold up. I need to take some of me.
Oh my gosh. I feel like a celebrity.
Or you are a celebrity. Bro, you have more views on your YouTube highlights than I do.
How do YouTube highlights? Is this part of the... Do you want me to pose for that?
Well, I'm testing out... I used to always do screen grabs from this, but I'm testing out using the iPhone for screen grabs. Alright. Come on. I'm going to do mine now. I'm going to actually have you take some pictures of me, but...
Okay.
Wait a second. Let me do the camera first.
That's actually how you do.
Alright, now...
Dude, that's hilarious.
Yeah.
It's like right here?
Yeah, work at the ones I took of you and then see. It should... Yeah, and then just kind of recreate the same distance.
Okay.
Alright.
Here, to know I'm true. What had it?
Alright, there we go.
That's so funny, bro. I love it.
Oh, see the little sticks. I post vlog. Thomas, first, actually, you've been on other podcasts.
Yeah.
What did you think?
I liked it a lot.
You enjoyed
It was a lot deeper and more personal.
Yeah, I noticed that the other baseball people just ask you like, what food do you like?
Yeah.
And then baseball stats.
Yeah.
All right, guys, we're on our childhood field. Look at this, bro. Me and Thomas just wrapped up a podcast on our childhood baseball field. He used to play here when we were 8. Now he's playing in the big leagues. I'm podcasting. That's it.
Oh my gosh. Thank you so much, man.
All right. I hope it was a good experience.
Yeah, it was awesome. Holy crap, that's a Charlie.
Hey, are you going to, when do you return back to the league?
February 12th-ish.
Are you going on a road trip with St. Louis?
No.
Okay, you're not.
No, I'm not.
I saw
I just
somewhere
gotta fly.
that you're going on like some bus trip in like 2 days.
Bus trip?
It didn't seem accurate.
Not that I know of.
No, it's won't geek out. I don't know anything. So you'll be here until February.
Yes, I will.
Sure.
Do you want this mic or do you want this?
Oh yeah, I'll take that in a second. I heard that the light has like a Thursday young adults group. It's like 18 to 25. If you're all allowed to do it. Have you gone to it?
I've gone a couple of times. I went mostly a couple of times last year.
Was it? Did you like it?
Yeah, I did it a lot.
Okay, because
It's far. It's long cloud.
it's not at the chapel.
Is that what it's big dealing?
The chapel's like right next to the. So you know how they have it in the La Paloma Theater?
Yeah.
The chapel's like literally a 1-minute drive from La.
No, yeah, I know. It's not the chapel. It's at somebody's house last time
Okay, I think they moved it to the chapel.
Oh, for real?
At least everyone who was telling me about it said it was in the chapel. So I might I go to a different young adults group, but I might try going to the light because that's like my main church now.
Yeah, that would be sweet. Why did that?
I love Benji, bro.
This is like down, huh?
Yeah.
Benji, the freaking guy.
He lays.